Hello and welcome to Fight News Now. I'm John Pollock with you for the next half hour with all of the latest happenings in mixed martial arts. On the program today, you're going to hear from middleweight champion Chris Weidman, both of the coaches from Tough 20 with Anthony Pettis and Gilbert Melendez stopping by. Plus, contestant Felice Herrig will also be on the show. We'll also have John Ramdian and Robin Black stopping by for 3 rounds. And it's the dawn of the Planet of the Apes on the shift. A packed show as usual, so let's get started. The UFC announced on Tuesday that following an injury sustained by featherweight champion Jose Aldo last week, it has been decided that they will cancel the entire UFC 176 pay-per-view scheduled for August the 2nd in Los Angeles, California. Aldo, who was supposed to meet #1 contender Chad Mendes in the night's main event, was forced from the contest on July the 2nd after suffering a neck and shoulder injury in training. This marks the second time the UFC has been forced to cancel a show following an incident incurred by a headlining fighter after the same situation occurred at UFC 151 in September of 2012. Keeping with Jose Aldo, UFC co-owner Lorenzo Fertitta told Fox Sports 1 Tuesday night that the plan would be to move the proposed Mendes versus Aldo rematch to an event in October, giving the champion enough time to rehab his injury and put in a proper training camp. Fertitta also went on to state that if Aldo were not to be ready for October, a situation could happen where an interim title is created and would likely pit Mendes against either Cub Swanson or Frankie Edgar. Aldo is scheduled to meet again with his doctors in 2 weeks, and the UFC is expected to make a decision about the situation from there. Chris Weidman defended the middleweight championship in successful fashion this past Saturday at UFC 175 against a very tough Lyoto Machida. Immediately, focus now turns to who is next for a crack at the champion, with Vitor Belfort appearing to be the leading candidate, but not without a cloud of controversy hanging over Belfort. Weidman spoke to the media regarding the prospects of fighting Belfort and what he expects in terms of drug testing.
I feel like hopefully it's just the beginning of what's going to be going on. I feel terrible. You know, Chael came out with his first statement. He got me. I'm on his side. I think I completely understand where he's coming from. Vitor and Vanderlei, I wasn't on their side. I'm like, they're obviously doing something. And Vitor got tested. He was way over on the TRT levels. But Chael, I felt bad for. Then those second tests came out, and I'm just like, I still love Chael to death. But it just kind of opens up your eyes what some guys could be doing. And it pisses me off. So I want guys to be, checked as much as possible, blood tests or whatever could be done. I want done. It's hard for me to even think about Vitor at this point, but if I'm fighting Vitor, he's going to be tested. He's been caught twice now. His level. I mean, I looked last time I seen him. I saw it like on the back, right by his shorts. There was like a little tail hanging down. He was becoming like a horse. He's got so much testosterone on him. I guess that wasn't funny, but I just think he needs to be tested as much as possible. He's been known to fail tests.
The UFC gets a short break before coming back with 2 cards in a span of 4 nights as they return to Atlantic City, New Jersey on Wednesday, July the 16th with a dynamite fight at 155 pounds between Donald Cerrone and Jim Miller. The 2 are scheduled for 5 rounds, with Cerrone coming in having won 3 straight and Miller victorious in his last 2 as we take a closer look.
The main event matchup between Donald Cerrone and Jim Miller may not have immediate title consequences, with both fighters sitting outside of the top 5 of the official UFC rankings, but it is must-see TV nonetheless.
Oh, big left hand!
With a combined 30 fights inside the octagon and higher than 70% finishing rates for both fighters over their career, this one has little chance of going the full 25 minutes.
Oh, he knocks him down the jab! Oh, Miles in trouble! Takes his back.
And oh yeah, did I mention they also have a combined 15 performance bonuses between them?
We'll take a... Oh, that's it! It's over!
Cerrone is known primarily as a striker, but with 5 times as many submissions as knockouts, there's clearly more to Cowboy's game than punches and kicks. With 14 submissions of his own, Miller is no slouch on the ground.
Miller wants to yank that arm up and pop it up behind his back, and he's got it! Can he get it? It's looking to finish him, buddy! Look at this!
And with his biggest advantage coming in the wrestling department, he'll likely decide where the fight takes place.
Reaching with that open hand. Oh, he rocked him!
No matter who comes out on top in this one, the fans will be the winners, as 2 of the most exciting fighters in the lightweight division collide in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
We seldom go a day without the question of when Anderson Silva is returning being asked. In catching up with his manager Ed Suarez, we chatted with him about the recovery the former middleweight champion has made over the past 6 months and his reaction to a proposed bout between Silva and Nick Diaz.
Oh, there's been talks, but nothing concrete yet. But I've spoken with Nick, and Nick, I think people are are going to be surprised if this fight goes down, how it's not going to be, you know, people are expecting Nick to be like that typical shit-talking kind of guy, but, you know, Nick is really respects Anderson Silva, but in his heart he believes he can bang with them. So it's going to be a truly, you know, a martial art kind of a thing where these guys are going to respect each other and they're going to go out there and put their best on the line and see who wins.
With TUF 19 wrapping up this past weekend, the next domestic version of the series will be happening this September, with filming beginning over the past week. The coaches for the upcoming all-women's season will feature lightweight champion Anthony Pettis and challenger Gilbert Melendez. And up first, we hear from the champion, who has yet to defend his title since winning it last August from Benson Henderson.
I wanted to fight. I think I could be ready to fight by August, end of August. I mean, from now to August, I could be ready to fight, but the opportunity is huge. I mean, it sets up my fights perfectly. I'll still fight before the end of the year, so I'm not really worried about trying to get back in the octagon as soon as possible. I mean, I've had injuries before. I had time off before. Gil hasn't fought since September as well, so it's not like he has advantage there. We're both coming off of a long layoff, and we get to coach the show. It builds our brands, and it's the opportunity that I can't say no to. I mean, I realize I'm not 21 no more, and it's a big difference. I mean, I'm still young, but when I was 21, 19 when I first started, I was training all day, every day. I never felt like I was overtraining. Now I can feel it. I can read my body a little better. My problem is I'm very competitive and I love sparring. So when I go out there, I'm always trying to knock the person out who I'm going with. I don't care if it's my younger brother. I'm out there. I'm competitive. So I need to realize that I already have the skills. When in my training camps are just fine-tuning the technique. So that's what we're going to focus on: fine-tuning the technique, not spar as much, not do as much as rolling and wrestling. Just do what I need to do and make sure I'm performing as well. More strength and conditioning than anything.
Melendez also spoke to members of the media regarding Anthony Pettis as El Nino gets his second crack at UFC Gold after a close fight with then-champion Benson Henderson in April of 2013.
Dude, he's a great fighter. You know, he's definitely Showtime. He's definitely very athletic, and you know, one thing I see, like, other than what everyone sees the obvious, I mean, you guys might see it too, but I think he's a very intelligent fighter. You know, he's a very smart guy, and you know, I've seen him, and you know, when he speaks and when he, you know, I've seen him work. He's more than just a fighter. He's an intelligent guy, and I think that brings a lot to the table. But so am I, so I think I can deal with it well. As a fighter, he's very elusive. He's very long. You know, he sets up his hands. You know, he does his fast hands in your face to, you know, set up a kick. You know, he's not really looking for the takedown. He obviously got submissions. An athletic guy, so I don't think his submission technique is 100%, but his athleticism and those athletic hips jumps him up a fast notch, so things might come out of nowhere. So, you know, I'm prepared for it, but I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and you know, I'm a very focused and disciplined fighter. I don't make mistakes like get armbarred. You know, I've never been finished. But yeah, he's a very talented fighter, and you know, he's a long-rangey guy, a strong guy.
And we'll stay with the theme of TUF 20, which will feature a tournament to crown the first UFC strawweight champion. One of the members of the season who will certainly add some flavor to the dynamic of the season is Felice Herrig, who tells us that she nearly turned down the opportunity to appear on the season following her loss to fellow cast member Tecia Torres last year.
When you look at all of the cast members here, a lot of people very intrigued of Felice Herrig and how she's going to stir the pot in the house.
You know,
I mean that as a compliment.
Well, thank you. You know, I'm a very quirky, outgoing girl, but I'm actually not a drama girl. I feel like I get sucked into a lot of drama because a lot of girls, for whatever reason, like to talk badly about me, or, you know, every girl I fight is always like has an opinion about me. I feel like because I have such a strong personality, everybody always has an opinion of me, but I'm a lot different than people would think. I'm actually not dramatic. I don't go out of my way to pick fights. I'm just outgoing and energetic, and
but you're in a sport where, I mean, that is applauded. I mean, there's so many fights out there, so many fighters. It's like fans at home, they're begging, give me a reason to care. I want to see a grudge. I want to have a reason to watch someone fight, and I think you completely understand that, whereas others, there's so much in athlete mode and not disrespecting anyone, and you know what, they don't always get the same attention.
Right. Well, I don't really feel like I get attention based on like disrespecting anybody, and I don't feel that that's the way that I want to get attention. Right. I just have a really bold, outgoing personality, and I think that it creates the drama because a lot of girls don't like me. So I'm always in these like dramatic like fights, like such drama. There was so much beef in that fight, and you know, it's fine. I guess like that's my calling, is, you know, that you know, gets people excited and pumped to watch the fights. But then at the end of the day, like, I can back it up too. So it's not just like a bunch of, you know, stirring the pot and trying to get attention. It's just, you know, it's just what happens. And I think that the fans keep coming back because there's a lot more to me. You know, it's not just about, you know, smack talk and or anything. It's, you know, when it comes time to fight, I bring it. So.
This is only day 3 of tapings, if I'm not mistaken. Everyone here, they're very excited to be here. They're looking forward. It's the beginning of the journey. Week 6, when everyone's been in this house and cut off from the world. I mean, I think you are going to get to see some of the crazier sides of some of these people. Are you anticipating that and knowing kind of the lineage of Ultimate Fighter, that people come out of this house and it is quite the experience?
Yeah, I'm actually, I came in expecting nothing but prepared for anything.
Right.
And I think that that's the mental attitude you have to have. You're going to have to adapt to certain situations. And women, you know, when they're cutting weight, and I don't know when women's monthly cycles are. I don't know if that's going to, you know, cause anything.
It's an interesting thing that you have to, these women are going to be fighting so many times in 6 weeks. I mean, that's going to be a legitimate problem.
Yeah, and then as, you know, as training starts to get amped up and everybody is tired and, you know, they're cutting weight, you just never know what's going to happen.
When you got the call, I mean, was this something even you fathomed, the idea of a whole season building to a champion for the straw weights? I mean, it kind of just came out of there, and it's got so much interest because of the implications at the end of this.
Yeah, actually, Dana White called me. I was ready to quit fighting, honestly. It was 3 days after I had fought and lost, and I was going through a rough period because I've been fighting for 12 years now, and I was going through that time in my life where I was like, I really don't want to fight anymore. I just don't want to be here. Like, what is the end goal? There's no end goal. I felt like, well, I kind of already did everything I could do, you know, in this sport, and it was almost like there was nothing left. And I was like, I want to do other things with my life. And then Dana White gave me the call.
What a sign.
I know. And I actually almost told him, thanks, but no thanks, Dana. Click.
Really? Wow.
I actually ignored his call the first 3 or 4 times.
Wow. So you were hard to get.
I was the last person he ended up getting a hold of. And I thought about it, and I got remotivated and just amped up, and I found my hunger and my desire again, and I you know, I found that fighter that, you know, I found the passion again, and now I'm just really excited again. Now I'm here just because I love to fight, and whatever happens, happens.
All right, I'm here with John Ramdien, and Mr. Ramdien, we're coming off of 2 big UFC shows over the weekend.
So that means we get a break, right?
We get a whole weekend off before they come right back at you, starting in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And if there is not a more fun audience to watch fights with, it's New Jersey crowds.
However, you look at the fact that Donald Cerrone is in the main event, people are gonna go berserk. Donald Cerrone, one of the most entertaining fighters in mixed martial arts. However, I don't think that he is going to get the bonus on Wednesday night.
Ooh, so you are going to indicate that somebody else is going to be aiming for a bonus. That's coming up on 3 rounds, as Robin Black will stop by as we take a short break here on Fight News Now and come back with 3 rounds.